Hey, Sungmin, how are you, my friend?
Hey, how's it going? Sorry for being a little bit late. I was in, but didn't realize that we could not use PC. Bit of surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but that you have to. Okay, so we got we have James now. So
Hey there.
yeah, you can. Hey, how are you, man?
Good, good. How are you? How's
Good,
everyone
good.
doing?
Long time. Long time. We've been planning to have you guys on for a long time. So
Yeah.
sorry for the delay on our end. We've been heads down. We're going to launch the website here this week, and we've been heads down on the Creator Hub and the marketplace. So we're hoping to launch that in a couple of weeks, and then after that, the whole Learn to Earn platform. But yeah, thanks for being patient with us, man.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to speak with you.
All right.
Yeah. So
Uh,
why don't we get started here? So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today we have a really cool topic. So we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk to the StackSwap. I don't know if you guys are the founders or the core team. You guys built your decentralized exchange, and it's built on Stacks. You guys also have a token launchpad, and there's also, and I don't think anyone else has seen it. I'm probably like one of a handful of people that have seen this prediction engine for the Stacks price, and I'm really excited to hear because you guys actually built an AI model for that, and you're not just using TensorFlow. You're actually like hosting the whole infrastructure. So I'm really stoked to hear more about that. But before we begin and jump in, why don't Sungmin, why don't you give us some background? I know you guys were also in the Stacks Accelerator, and Brittany the other day on the Bitcoin Summit, she shared the the three dexes right now, which is StackSwap, Arcadico, and AlexGo. And you guys actually had 94 million in total locked value, and it was by far the most. So I didn't even know you guys had that much value, guys, kind of floating around. Can you guys just give us a background?
Yeah, we entered DeFi space a few years back, and we chose Stacks because we wanted to see if there's a way to bring in DeFi into a Bitcoin ecosystem, and it seemed to be the best choice to build on top of Stacks, and we still believe it's that's the right choice. And we focus seriously on permissionless nature of the exchange. I believe it's very important. So it took a lot of effort to make sure it is permissionless and at the same time, and secure. It takes a lot of work. And we are, mainly researchers. So I guess, these three teams that runs exchange on Stacks has a bit of a different flavor. So we are more into trying new things and, just bringing our AI background into the DeFi and I mean, just a little more excitement. And we went on the mainnet last August, so it's been more than 6 months now, and we feel pretty confident of the security aspect of it and everything. So I think it's about time we start getting a little more aggressive on like letting people know what we're doing. Until now, we've been kind of quiet because we want to make sure that everything works neatly. And our positioning is more like easily approachable, like exchange for everyone, especially not just for the investors, but also the guys who want to just start their own project in the Stacks ecosystem without too much of a technical background. Because when we first started, there wasn't much of a documentation widely available. So it was a bit of a steep learning curve to understand the nitty gritty of clarity. Now it's much better. Thanks to a lot of effort put in by Stacks community and Hero and a bunch of people. Um, so one of the issue that people usually encounter when they want to jump into um, a particular blockchain, and they usually come with their tokenization model, is that it takes quite a bit of time to get your token audited, even if it's such a simple, like even if it's something super simple, it takes a while because aren't that many reputable auditing firms, and there's a lot of projects that want to audit their tokens. So we have created a launchpad with the pre-audited um, tokens. So basically, anyone can come in and save all that time and of course the cost of auditing process. It could start safe token and just hop on the project and just be a part of Stack's ecosystem without too much of a hurdle. Yeah, and maybe we could take some questions.
Yeah, yeah. Huddle, did you want to jump in here?
Yeah. I was curious as to how you guys are looking at trying to kind of balance the tokenomics. You look around at a lot of swaps like on Ethereum and elsewhere, and it seems like getting more pairs will attract folks, and kind of I'm curious as to kind of what's your long view of integrating into stacks and growing with it.
So perhaps it's been about a year since the multi-chain has been a thing. And although it's been some time, there's still some technical issues here and there, and you guys all probably have witnessed some hacks that were unfortunately, exploited in large scale. But I think that's the future. Like it has to happen eventually. Uh, and I'm particularly very excited about the hyperchain coming. So there'll be quite a bit of a update on Stacks blockchain, um, beyond what's currently capable right now. And there's some functions missing in a Clarity language too, but they'll be introduced very soon. So our long-term goal is more of a like cross multi-chain and fully operational DEX that you could just launch token. They'll be available everywhere, all blockchain. But it's a long time in the future. But we want to make sure everything works very well, and like users have a good experience on Stacks, and immediate integration will be with the Bitcoin network more closely, like native swaps, all like seamlessly installed, and maybe somewhat of a like hybrid order book settlement if we were to go for futures exchange, but that's a little bit ahead in the future. And Zero did mention our market forecast stuff, which is our strong suit, and I believe we are probably ahead of a lot of people in that aspect because we've been just that we've been doing it for a while. And as you guys have seen, the recent market has been somewhat volatile, and we've been testing it in-house. Everything's working fine. And we want to kind of tie in this market forecast into the DEX operation itself to everybody, because I don't know whether you guys seen it, but during the Stacks Accelerator demo day, I did mention the need for this market forecast is because we all know DeFi is volatile, right? But it's exciting space, but you could get just destroyed anytime. And there is no such thing as like a market forecast, like a weather cast. Like we don't want to get wet in the rainy season. We still check the weather forecast, even if it's not 100% accurate, and help us be prepared for an unforeseen, shower. And there's nothing like that in the financial market, especially in the DeFi. that everybody could just take advantage of. So
No, that's a great point. And I don't think a lot of people weren't in those in the first accelerator. So I think it was awesome to see everyone come through and now see everyone launching their products. And now we're in the cohort two for the Stacks Accelerator. And if you're listening here too, and you guys have a team or you're a solo founder and you want to apply, there's still time and you can find out more at stacks.ac for accelerator. But so Sungmin, you guys definitely went through the accelerator. You guys have your working product, and with this price prediction, uh, how could people use that, right? Because uh, uh, there's some capabilities like on Coinbase to see how uh, um, are people buying this token or this coin, and what is the usage, right? And so like I think as the next evolution of dexes, people will want some of these really neat features, right, to have a token prediction. How do you think people can use this within the swap feature?
so there's so many different models that we could deploy in terms of a forecast, or will we be predicting binary up and down for how long of a period. There's just so many options, and we're just still testing to see what works the best for everybody. That's why and another thing, right now there exists a bit of an information asymmetry between the prediction services that we can provide and the larger population in the market who's just participating without this information. So it's kind of easy to measure this performance without having any effect on the market, but we don't know how it's gonna perform, and not really sure how consistent it will be, because although we can do some analysis, some mathematical models, uh, in reality it rarely matches the modeling. So we want to gradually release the the how do I say, like, the influence of, how many people can participate and to pick up this information and see how they could get benefit from it. But right now, like, if you ask how someone can take advantage of it, then on top of all these other like technical measures or whatever things that you have, like Twitter feed, sentiment, and there are a bunch of people and like entities who provide their own analytics on the market, right? So you could use our thing on top of these bunch of other factors that you usually base your investment decision upon as kind of like a side metric. And if everything aligns, maybe it'll be just better possibility that you could have a successful investment experience, because there's a law of large number, and it just technically should work better if you just use it all together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, when we just had the recent volatility, and I know over at least on Arcadico, I'm really familiar with that some folks got liquidated for the first time, and some people, maybe they're away from their computer. I could totally see how analytics could come into play. Even if it was just as simple as you got like an email or text message alert that volatility or something reached got over a certain level. I know a lot of people in stacks, when it comes to trying to analyze price and things like that, they rely on kind of on-chain analytics for Bitcoin. But as we don't have to be, but like the folks over on Ethereum, they have a lot of analytics themselves, and so as we kind of grow, I could definitely see that analytics could become useful, and what better place to have that than the DEX itself. You could integrate in, like, you could have that as like a premium user. Like, I believe you guys have NFTs that you guys might be using for that now. So that's over time, I think, as Stacks grows and DeFi grows on Stacks, it's going to be something that kind of power users or a lot of folks might be really interested in using. So that's really smart forward thinking there for you guys.
Yeah, and like you said, we want to kind of tie into the participation into the platform with the ability to get an access to this limited information. That's why I use NFT and see if it works. And we're still testing and getting data from the market. In terms of a forecast algorithm working well, we put a serious thought into it, and we've already had experience with more than about 300,000 tokens that were available from a bunch of other blockchains. And there's some interaction between some of these tokens. Sometimes it's not, and you have to take in consider. Right now, Stacks community isn't as big as say like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but when it gets there, I'm very sure it will in a very short time. Then the market behavior will be quite different. So we're preparing for all that to make sure it's robust and constantly updated itself. And how well, but the forecasts and trading is just two different game, right? And you can kind of see where things are going, and making money is a different story, and not losing money is also a different story. So we want to focus more on kind of like a risk mitigation first, because I want to make sure what we make is useful for just a lot of people, um, so making more money is what everyone's after, but everyone can use not losing more money than they would have, right? So,
Yeah,
I
for
mean, when you think
sure.
about it, making 50% more and not losing 50% of your money is like in the latter is so much more significant, because if you lose 50% of your money, you got to make 100% to make back what you started with, which is much more difficult than just, keeping 0.1% return over time. So,
Yeah. Hey, Sungmin, how does the token launchpad work? Are you? I do see some tokens on there, and there's some meme coins, and right now Stacks is the number one Web3 project on Bitcoin, and obviously it's going to grow over time. But how do you see projects using the launchpad here?
yeah, we're doing complete like overhaul of a UI, because although we thought initially to make it very simple for non-developers to use it's still a little bit more cumbersome and somewhat difficult to understand what's there for everyday users to take advantage of it. You just gotta put in some of the numbers that you seem fit, and it will just issue a token, a particular type of a token that you want. It could be something like very similar to Citicoin, PX Lite, or it could be just SIP10, and list in our exchange and send the extra on your wallet so you can control it later on, or put it in the smart contract later on. Everything at once, just one transaction. Um, and I think, and even the audit part is taken care of. So you can basically like kickstart your operation with just something akin to Google Form, and it's on the blockchain and ready to go. So,
That's really awesome. I was curious, looking at how these kind of community created tokens. What kind of process do folks have to go through for once they kind of have a community created token where they kind of become the verified token or maybe included in the liquidity pools?
yeah, there's been a lot of conversation about it. So like right now, the policy is if you're inside of a Stacks accelerator, then you're just in, or like you're already like confirmed by large amount of population within the Stacks community that you're in. But bear in mind, our smart contract is open, so anyone could just create it and list it and do whatever they want, and just using blockchain, API calls. So we can't stop it. No one can stop it. But showing it in the front end of our website does require some kind of specifications that you need to meet. So once someone create their community token through our web front end, then they're shown right away in the community created list. And we're thinking maybe like if there's an audit report that they of their whatever project, then that's beyond their scope of token, we could show them in the verified list, or maybe just have community vetted. Like there's some well-known members in the community, like Frigger or a bunch of other people who's been with the stacks for a long time and been contributing actively. So maybe you could create some kind of a board of a sort. But it's a bit touchy, right? Like, so who determines who's capable of making this decision or not? It's very difficult to just make a very clear and largely acceptable guideline for it. So we're still kind of getting response from this from the community and try to figure out what works the best.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I mean, you definitely don't want to go and verify a bunch of meme coins and then have a bunch of users feel like they, even though when you're interacting with crypto, you're not supposed to just simply trust things. You're right. You really should be verifying them yourself. Yeah, you wouldn't. I can totally see. Yeah, you don't want that to happen to your end user. So I think in the early days, people do appreciate at least some form of hurdles that folks have to overcome. So no, it's interesting. It's good to know. Zero, did you have something you'd like to transition to? Or?
Yeah, so I know we're starting to see some really exciting developments with NFTs and using them to create exclusive clubs, right? So we just saw Megapont. They launched their 1,000 mint, and I think the new school, they have their hall pass. I see on the StackSwap, and I'm not sure if this is new, but there's a StackSwap membership AI service pass. Tell us how you guys are going to use that, and just in general, how are NFTs going to evolve into different types of passes, or different types of verification for different teams or audiences.
So these gold pass, silver pass, these passes are given out according to the participation, amount of participation the user have with the StackSwap platform. And the more you participate, the more likely, you get to the higher pass. Details has been shared with the community publicly like a while back. And so what's the use of it? I mean, we have immediate use of it, which is our AI related stuff, not just a forecast. There are a bunch of things AI can do, right? Like a bunch of things a smart person can do. You could have it draw, or like, I don't know, extract information from the web and summarize and make forecasts on a bunch of different things. And as we create a product out of all these tech that we have, we want to make sure these community pass members will be the first to get access to it. I think it's beneficial for both parties, the holders of the passes and also the operating team too, because if there's any information that's valuable, that's going to be given out by these products, then I think it makes sense for us to share it with those who have been, interacting with us a lot more than those who has not been. So that could be beneficial somehow for the holders if it's given out early. At the same time, some of these tech isn't well verified yet because we're going to roll out in the moment it's ready. And so we do need some kind of feedback but like limited number of people who understand what goes on in our ecosystem better. So that actually allow us to have more refined data points to improve our products. So right now, we're preparing for like what's the best way to show the forecast? We did service it for a limited amount of time, right? There's a lot of responses how to make it better, and it was surprisingly heterogeneous. So like everyone has different use of a forecast, and everyone like I mean just when we get like 20, 30 responses, everyone wanted different things. So it's taking us a while to kind of figure out the sweet spot for a large amount of population to be happy with it. So it's taking some time. In the meantime, we're having our AI to like parse some of the information off the web and see if so the AI will go out in the web, search and see what it'll look for some interesting articles, and then it'll draw painting based on these, you know, text input that it has observed. And some of the stuff comes out, and we thought it would be cool to just see if we could make this collectible and add another tech on top of it. And as for the detail, maybe I could discuss this with you later.
No, that's really cool. Because I also see that on the right below that. So there's the gold, there's a silver level that you can purchase, right? And then the AI driven art, you're also fine tuning what you already do to now produce art. Is that correct?
So gold and silver pass are not sold per se, but you could just issue it if you have participated enough. Then you could just mint it. So if you meet certain criteria, you could just mint it off the user interface. And the art intelligence is like the one of the first product of our AI could sell. So like I just mentioned, it'll just go out to the web. It'll find some parameters that I mean, some text that it seemed to be interesting, draw something based on it, and we have embedded our asset-backed Bitcoin inside of this NFTs that you see here. So what's the point of it? Imagine you have a painting drawn with gold. Even if nobody buys it, you could at least extract that gold and sell it, right? Yeah. So this will allow users to put up their NFT as a collateral, and you will have like a measurable lower bound of how much this particular NFT could be worth in terms of a collateral. So now we could, provide some basis on, building a bigger uh, lending market based on like NFT as a collateral, and maybe tie in more complex DeFi Lego into it. And this is one of the first thing that we want to test things out. And there are a bunch of things you can do. You could retouch the way you want it, and just every time you do some kind of transaction or pay something for it, a portion of this money will be embedded inside of NFT. And if you decide to just burn it, then you get that money back. So yeah, now it's like AI plus DeFi plus NFT, and see how it goes.
What? All right, wait a minute. Now it's getting very interesting. And so this kind of reminds me, back in 2012, like they actually like had these physical Bitcoin coins that were actually, I think there were ones that were worth 100 Bitcoin, then some for 1,000 Bitcoin, and some people actually received them as gifts. And there was one story, some dude, he kind of just shoved it in the back of his drawer in his office and totally forgot about it. And then a couple years later, he was like, "Oh yeah, someone gave me this actual physical coin." So this is interesting. You have this AI art that can be uh, it's almost like steganography, right? Where you embed the Bitcoin, let's say you embed like some XBTC and you can burn the NFT to receive the XBTC, or you could stake that image. Like, so let's say you create like 100 images based on let's say one XBTC or something, and then give those out as gifts or something to a wallet. Is that something that's possible?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
All that stuff is possible. This is like very first like a test run to see, see how where it could go. Like there's just so much excitement that goes on inside of our desk right here. Like we could do so much stuff. Like, oh my God. But yeah, you just got it right away.
Wow. See, we should have led with this, dude. This shit is awesome.
That's
Wow.
really I
Yeah. Marketing isn't our strong suit right now. We're trying actively to get more recruit and get some help externally also to get better. But there's a lot of things, man, goes on inside of our head and our lab that just hasn't been really publicly known. And I frankly believe like, a lot of people could just have fun out of it and also benefit from it. And
You know what? So, because Huddle Stacks and we're both engineers by trade too. Because while I'm a computer data and cybersecurity engineer, he's an actual engineer by trade. So, totally agree with you on like the marketing promotion side. And this is why we love these conversations, because all of us are like super focused on building, right, and just like making some awesome stuff and helping the community to collaborate and share more code and be able to do more things. And this really reminds me too, because if anyone's listening, uh I don't know if anyone knows, but there's this site called D Cards, and Drew Falkman made it. So it was supposed to be at the end of in December of last year. It was really cool. If you go to D Cards, I think it's what is the website? dcards dcards.art. So there's these regenerative NFTs that you can create, and they have it's based on snowflakes. So if you hit the regenerate, it creates a new snowflake, because every snowflake is unique, right? So the concept behind it was to get more people into stacks. You create this card. It was supposed to be like a Christmas card, and you could send it out to people, and you pay the gas fees, and they just receive it via email, and they could log into their Hero wallet and receive this. So he may open source that, because he that was kind of the purpose of it. And we've been thinking about doing something with zero authority with that, but with a different design. But now I'm actually like starting to get the wheels turning on what you just said with this AI art, and embedding some like crypto behind it too. And I think a lot of people will start to be super interested. And I see City Packs too. Thanks for the hand clap there, because you guys are creating the City Pack backpacks. What if you guys create the City Packs and embed the XBTC or some stacks in it, then hand it out to some students there too? So, man, just the ideas just start kind of getting wild here. Were you going to
yeah
say something, Huddle?
yeah I was just thinking a boom box where the NFT itself has the value held behind it, and so that would be really awesome too. You would essentially have your NFT would be a wallet that would also be yielding. That would be kind of crazy.
Hey, so StackSwap James, we haven't heard from you, man. Tell us more about what you guys are building on Discord. I see you answering all types of messages throughout the hours. I don't know if you sleep much, man, but tell us more about some of the questions that are coming up, and some of the things that are surprising you in you guys' Discord here.
Maybe he's not here.
Yeah,
He's
he's in like a in the remote part of Korea right now, so his internet connection might be choppy. But I assure you, he doesn't sleep much. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
none
I
of us
see him
do, but
answering all
he doesn't.
types of messages all night. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Well, Sungmi, why don't you tell us about what you guys are doing with Discord and some of the questions that are coming up? Because I know I've had a numerous questions over since you guys launched, and I know you guys are doing a good job just putting all of like the frequently asked questions together and trying to help people learn more about the launch pad and show people how to do swaps. What are some questions that people are asking in your Discord? How do you guys use that channel uh, to uh, to as a feedback loop to build better products?
well, there's a lot of how to use, this stuff because I guess we made it in the beginning, assuming a majority of the user will be those who are already somewhat familiar with the DeFi, already have some experience with Ethereum or anything else. But surprisingly, quite a bit of folks from the Stacks community weren't that familiar with the existing DeFi ecosystem. So what seemed to be apparent to us was really not. So we had to explain a lot and see what makes sense to them. So we need to put together some documentation, and then there's UI update. So we need to kind of redo it again. But while we had to spend quite a bit of time repeatedly answering some of the questions, it kind of shed light to what was missing from our UX. So the next iteration about to come, some of the stuff is on right now. We're testing. Probably within a week or so, we'll have some major update in terms of a UX. But some of these aspects will be applied. So people will have a better understanding and better visibility on what's going on without referring to the documentation as frequently. So it's a good source. And quite a bit of them, as you know, we haven't been engaging in marketing activities. So the majority of the members are those who are been with the stacks for a long time, and they have a lot of helpful feedback, not just like UX interface, but like the direction of the development and things like this. So it's really helpful in many aspects.
No, no, that's so awesome, man. And one of the reasons I was asking about Discord because there's so many Discord communities too, and we're all trying to make it engaging, make it fun, but also make it educational too. And I know a lot of people around Stacks are just so engaged and helping each other too. So that's something that we take seriously for our responsibility. We really want to highlight all of the good work being done just across the board and if anyone has any questions statements or just say hello, please come up to the stage, uh hit the request button. We love when people come up and just say hi or ask some questions that they've had. uh as far as the total value locked, are you surprised that uh how many people are using the platform? Are you guys going to build like some analytics pages so we could see the wallet addresses that are uh, that have the stacks and the stack swap token and the rest of the other tokens on the platform?
Oh yeah, we've already had quite a bit of experience with building analytics on top of blockchain, on actually multiple blockchain. Like it's been a couple of years since we had the first product, so it shouldn't be that difficult to connect it to stacks because all the ERD, everything figured out long time ago. So once we roll out some of the stuff that we need to finish, then we could start getting into analytics. But I can't promise exactly when. But yeah, it'll be helpful because right now there's not like crazy amount of traffic here on our StackSwap because mainly we haven't really been doing that much of marketing. So once we start doing some push, then definitely will be needed. We'll have it ready. And there's a couple of institutional interests from Korea, and you probably know this already, but more than 50% of the trading volume of stacks in the world is generated from Korea. So there's a lot of interest. This is a land of
the
stacks.
the kimchi premium is real.
It's madness over here.
When you see Bitcoin going crazy, dude, those exchanges in Korea are just absolutely wild. And Trevor, I think Trevor's still in Korea and he knows. So the kimchi premium, look it up.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, why are so many people interested in stacks in Korea? Because I don't know, like maybe community is well educated, or maybe not, but I think they all believe in potential of it, right? And there's, you know, a bunch of amazing backers and founders and community members have been working on stacks for a while, and it's been going through all these milestones that it needs to get to. So I think everybody's just excited and having a lot of expectation of a stacks becoming like one of the major crypto more than right now. So yeah, we're very excited to take this journey with the entire Stacks ecosystem to because we really want to bring in more like true DeFi, like really decentralized, censorship resistant and all. But at the same time, find some way to work with the existing legal boundaries, which is a very difficult task. But I think if you were to make it more widely available to like a lot of people, then can't just fight the authority all the time. So make sure we're, legally compliant in all aspect. So that is one of the reasons that we have uh, brought in some of the advisor from having like experience from Federal Reserve of New York, because we want to make sure that we prepare for the long haul. Because I really believe DeFi will be mainstream within 10, 20 someday. It's gonna happen, and maybe something could coexist with this censorship resistant, and as somewhat of a private aspect of DeFi with something that would be acceptable to more wider range of people in terms of regulation. There will be a sweet spot, and I don't think we have to take one drastic path over another. So we want to figure it out and want to prepare for it because we're in for a long haul.
Oh yeah, that's good to hear. I know some people they just build in how things are framed today, and they aren't looking to how things might change in the future. I had a question for you. Looking around and folks in the audience and whatnot, what are some things that you would like to see kind of be built out in stacks to kind of make DeFi grow? I can imagine, with the developments of the hyperchains and maybe some sort of like Oracle integrations, that would probably help you out quite a bit. But I was just curious to see. It's always good to hear kind of from folks that actually are deep in the protocol of what might be needed to help things to grow and prosper here.
Yeah, so the core developers have been, doing an amazing job. Jude, Marvin, you name it all, to quickly ship out all these cool features that are needed. And I think besides like bridges over multiple blockchains and so forth, one of the key functionality update that might be helpful in the long run could be somehow find a way to increase the computational limit of a code, because right now even if you fasten up the block time with hyperchain and so forth, if it takes too long to execute a piece of code, it won't be mined within that short block time, right? So but this needs a lot of work. So it can't happen overnight. But if there's a way so that we could execute long, more complex code within a short amount of time, then we can bring in much more complex DeFi and other functionalities into Stack smart contract. Because, like, for example, right now, I mean, it's not just Stacks, but probably majority of other blockchains too. You can't really run serious AI code that's learnable and all that within blockchain because the computation overhead is just too prohibitive. Um, but if I mean hardware is gonna get cheaper and cheaper over time. We've been seeing million time reduction in hardware costs in the past 30 years. So it, I'm sure there'll be a way to do it. But in terms of a software too, like if there's a way to somehow allowing smart contract like longer smart contracts to be executed in terms of a computation time within stacks, it'll be definitely helpful in all aspects.
That's a great point because like even when we talked about it a couple months back about what you guys built for the AI prediction, you said you weren't using TensorFlow. So usually everyone that's going to use AI modeling, they just use TensorFlow. And let me get Brad up here. 1 second. Yeah, so usually you'll just use TensorFlow, right? And so if you want to do the code executions and actually build some AI models with what you actually want to use with your own data sets and not have to rely on Amazon and Google, those infrastructure improvements are definitely going to be needed. So we have 8 minutes here. Hey, Brad, did you want to say something or ask a question?
Yeah, how's it going? I just wanted to make a comment on that, what he just said. The hyperchains, it's a federated network. So my understanding, of course, we don't know the details yet, but my understanding would be that if you have a federated network of a small number of nodes, those nodes can be extremely powerful. So like the Stacks network is made to be able to run a node on a Raspberry Pi, but even a decent laptop is like 10 or 20 times more powerful than a Raspberry Pi. So, it should be easy. I would think it would be easier to run much more complicated smart contracts in the hyperchain world, but we'll have to wait and see when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely. There's another exciting part of hyperchain, right? We could kind of limit the we could impose kind of like a lower limit in terms of a computation among those who participate in the node. Uh, so yeah, it's to be seen. We still haven't seen it on the mainnet yet. But like when say we execute off of the hyperchain and move it back to the mainnet, uh, there's going to be also some bottleneck, right? So remember how Microblock first came out and it was slightly clunky in the beginning. It took a bit of a time until it became more stabilized. So yeah, I'm super excited too. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, the thought just occurred to me that maybe sometime in the distant future, 1 year away, maybe, if Ethereum goes to proof of stake, there will be a lot of idle GPUs that that's a lot of computational power that would then all of a sudden be put on the sidelines. So that could be something maybe a certain hyperchain might be able to tie into that if we wanted to have like you were saying, more complicated smart contracts or whatnot. That could be interesting. I'm not a computer scientist, so maybe that's not an accurate statement, but it's something interesting floating around in my head.
Hey, we have 5 minutes left here. So, last question, Sungmin. Tell us more about the vaults and the LBTC. How are people using that? I don't even know if people know you can create a vault and use some LBTC?
Yeah, so the idea behind it is that I mean, people use stablecoin to use this for a bunch of purpose. One of which is, stable storage of wealth, right? And I really believe crypto could be more stable than, fiat currency because of many reasons. And if you want to, like, say, remember DAI when it first came out? So they created this asset-backed stable coin. And I thought, like, if you were to create some kind of a asset-backed stable coin, it should track the price of Bitcoin or maybe basket of it. Like, you know how IMF does special drawing, right? With a bunch of baskets, like 5 currencies. We could do the similar thing with the crypto too. Instead of following the fiat currencies that are supposedly stable. So it was one of the stuff that we started out to test. And of course, right now, the going price in the market isn't as high as the Bitcoin because it was deliberately set in such way. So because there will be clearly less demand compared to the actual Bitcoin. But once enough demand comes to market, which is actually not that much from my calculation, then it'll catch up pretty quickly. And we have a bunch of means to make sure the price is pegged to the Bitcoin. And holder of this synthetic asset-backed Bitcoin will have advantage over just, holding regular Bitcoin, with similar benefit of holding Bitcoin as a storage of wealth. And one of which is this AI NFT. So yeah.
So it looks so with Arcadico, right? If you create a vault, you use some of your STX to mint some USDA, right? With with your vault, if you use some STX, you could mint some LBTC. Is that correct? What does LBTC stand for exactly?
Oh, our company name is Lucidify. StackSwap is a product of Lucidify. So we
Ah,
name it Lucid Bitcoin.
okay, it makes sense now. Do you know how people are using LBTC?
Right now, some are just minting, and uh, we're about to open up a pool, let people farm, and mainly just people are holding it right now because we haven't released many products based upon it yet. So those who have been keeping close tab with us have been mostly buying, assuming that we're gonna release something based on it. And we don't want to just not put it out there and all of a sudden, okay, so we got to launch this product and whatnot. Then, I mean, it'll give us some advantage, or like our close associates some advantage over others due to this information asymmetry. But that's somewhat against our philosophy. We want to do the best we could to give fair, I don't know, chance to wider scope of community. If you look at our farm, for quite a bit of a time, we basically give out same reward to every other token that we have no direct relationship with, which could change in the future, but that was the original spirit. So make sure that we're at the very early stage. I mean, the Stacks DeFi ecosystem as a whole, in the very early stage, and it's a nascent stage right now. So I think we should all help each other and see if we could create some kind of synergy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, thanks so much, guys, for joining today and sharing updates on StackSwap and letting us know about the launchpad and all the cool, rich features. We're going to Zero Authority DAO is launching our website this week. So, stay tuned for more updates on that. And if you want to learn more about StackSwap, go to stackswap.org or go to app.stackswap.com. StackSwap.org. And next week we're going to have another fun conversation. The live Kurt and I are doing a live conversation on Friday, and we're going to talk to Yana from Mentory. So please tune in for that too if you guys are around. Huddle, any last words here?
No, thank you all for joining, and yeah, we should be back here next week. It's 8 p.m. Eastern weekly for these. So yeah, thank you guys, and hope you all have a good rest of your week.
Thanks so much, everyone. Take care. Good night.
Bye. Everyone, thank you.
Zero Authority is a community of people who believe in open source and permissionless systems. Remember why you started.